Hello, I want to say hi to all my Raylos out there. And I have to cover a couple of things just so that it's clear what I specifically started Love is the Balance for. My name is Natalie, and I was an activist for a specific amount of time. From about 2012 to about 2017, I was basically observing all of the different groups and seeing how they relate to freedom of religion and coexistence. And I've kind of shifted gears, and I'm still an activist, but I'm not so much in that world. I've kind of taken a different approach and have not been connecting with those people that I used to connect with. And my main uh, sort of goal, I guess, was this idea that however our country was going to move forward in terms of democracy, my true belief was that, you know, whether it be Protestants or Muslims or atheists or evangelicals, um, anybody from all different types of faiths or non-faiths, we were all going to work together and to bring about this world where basically we're trying to make a good world for everyone and a safe world for everyone and not have bigotry or racism and work towards that together. That was my belief in my head that we were going to do, and that's how we were going to accomplish a democracy, basically. And I came to find that that wasn't the way that a lot of people actually thought that it was going to be. I saw a lot more of pitting different groups against each other to kind of prove like one group is the good guy and group is the bad guy, and sort of this lack of equality. And so I was very discouraged by that, and I couldn't take part in it. Um, One of the people that I had a huge problem with was John Fugelsang. I met him in 2013, and he's a liberal. So I had a lot of arguments with him about how I viewed the approach and how I just did not see coexistence being the thing that was promoted at all. So um, that was something that I personally went through, and I confronted him about the problems that I had. And so it was something that definitely happened. There is definitely tension between me and him, and I stand by my conviction of what I've said is that I just disagree with him, and I do not I can't stand by him. I just don't see him as a good role model. And it's sad when people who say they're for coexistence aren't. And they market themselves that way. And then, I think that it's so wonderful when you have people who do promote democracy and equality. And I just don't see him as one of those people. That I think that there are people who do support that, and he's just not one of them. So that's my personal experience, and you know, I can definitely speak for myself, and I can only share what I know and be honest with people. There's a video out there that I've taken upon myself to share because John would not. Um, Pope Francis and one of his close friends did a talk about how they don't think that Protestantism should exist. There should be one, sort of unity of a church, and really trying to diminish the Protestant identity. And I believe that Protestants and Catholics and evangelicals and Mormons and everybody should be able to be equal and have the same amount of rights and religious liberty to each other. And this message was disturbing to me. It was very Order 66, very, we don't need Protestants. It's bad that we have Protestants. Protestants should really get rid of their identity and be just kind of less of themselves and stop accentuating the fact that they are different from Catholics. And, in the video they do say that, I think that it is implied that, there isn't too much of a difference between like Catholics and others, but the truth is the Catholic Church is a political entity. It is a government, and it is a religious body, and together that makes it a church state. State being a political body, and Protestantism allows for there to be churches that are not also political, and for that case, it is allowing for people to be for separation of church and state. So there is a big difference. Like, you have Protestants who are for separation of church and state, and the Catholic Church is in fact a church state. So that is a huge difference that I think should not be overlooked. And I just want to play a small clip for you of Tony Palmer saying what he believes. Let me see if you can hear it.
The protest is over. Are you willing to agree that mankind is saved by grace through faith alone, to good works, not by good works?
So he's saying that's the only
This was the
dispute.
joint declaration that was signed back in 1999.
It's not the only dispute that we've had.
It's a new day for Christianity. How can we continue to live as Protestants in a post-Protestant era?
So that's what he said. How can we live as Protestants in a post-Protestant era? That is what he said. I don't know if you could hear it. I can link the video where he says that below. I disagree with him. I believe there are still Protestants. I'm a Protestant. I'm not Catholic. And I believe that Protestant and Catholics should have equality and work together, and not have this statement that Protestants should diminish their identity. Because if you have only, if you promote the idea there should only be like one Christian church so strongly, and to get rid of Protestants, that's very close to theocracy, in the sense that you have one way and not a lot of freedom to believe other things, or you're discouraging that freedom and you're saying that it's wrong and it's bad, and it's not. It's good for people to believe what they want, because that is religious freedom. And that's just a very quick summary of my perspective. And I want to be clear about where I'm coming from and allow people to have questions. So